Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Creator to Creators today. Today we have a special guest.
Santiago Salazar.
Oh, what a beautiful name, by the way. Like,
I appreciate that.
it sounds like a stage name, but it's not. It's like your real name.
Yeah, that's the one I carry around on a daily basis, right?
That's awesome. So I like to start with every guest, like from the beginning, kind of what kind of shaped, who you like basically turned out to be. What was your childhood like? And, how did you find your way into, I guess, into the world that you're in now, fitness?
Yeah. I mean, my childhood was extremely active. Like I played year-round sports. It was always wrestling, straight to football, straight to baseball. So like we were nonstop, me and my brother. My brother and I were 364 days apart, really close.
Wow.
So we grew up, playing on the same teams and everything all our life. But, we're really fortunate to be able to do travel baseball and like travel around the world, or not the world, but travel around the US, competing in wrestling and stuff like that. So, growing up, we were just constantly playing sports, constantly being active, staying in shape and everything. So that was kind of a big factor for me, you know what I mean? As far as like what shaped me today is like, especially with wrestling and everything, the discipline and the dieting and all that good stuff. It really plays a role with, what I do now, especially. So I'd say that was a big factor there. And then when I was graduating high school and all the sports kind of ended, I started going to community college, and I was after the nursing degree. I wanted to go into the medical field, just because I have, my mom's in the medical field, and I just had like a lot of people kind of pushing me that direction. It seemed like, a good career path at the time. So I started that, and what I mean, I got into the gym again because, like I said, all the sports ended. So I was kind of bored. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I had all this extra time on my hand that I was never used to my whole life. So, I got back into the gym and started lifting and everything. And a buddy of mine at the time, he was competing in bodybuilding, and he kind of pushed me to do my first show and everything. And after that, that was kind of all she wrote. I did my first show and I was addicted. And when I did my first show, I kind of really truly saw how much nutrition played a role in, the way you look, the way you perform, all that good stuff. And that's really kind of what sparked my interest, and so after that, I switched my career path. I was going to school for nursing, and I switched over to business. Started taking some nutrition courses and stuff like that. And then, man, before I knew it, my brother offered me an opportunity to kind of move down to Arizona with him and get out of, my hometown and everything. And I jumped all over it, and we got down here, and it was like right when the pandemic kicked off. All the gyms were closing, everything like that. So it was kind of just hustle mode. Like I knew I wanted my own personal training business, and at the time I'm like, this is an ideal situation to be a personal trainer, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely hustle mode. And I got things started with Sculpted by Santi down here, and started building a little clientele book. And again, it's like kind of all she wrote, and I just kind of took
Wow.
off with it from there.
That's impressive during the pandemic. Holy crap. So that means you just have like such a drive that you were like, I'm just gonna do this. I love that. I love that.
Definitely.
When
Yep.
did the clientele start coming in? Just curious, like, because it's the pandemic, I'm sure people were like afraid to like meet up
No,
and then
yeah,
or
100%. Yeah, I mean, tons of factors, right? Like we didn't really have any gyms to go to. We didn't, yeah, people weren't really interested in meeting up. And so that's kind of when I started pushing the online stuff
Mm.
pretty heavily because I mean, what better time to like take advantage of that, right? We don't have to meet in person. They can do their workouts at home, or if they have access to gym equipment or whatever the case is, like we can get that situated. So that's really kind of like what drove me to start pushing the online stuff a little bit more. And then once the gyms opened back up and everything, I got back in there with my one-on-one clients and everything. But um like you said, a lot of people were hesitant to do a lot of fitness stuff during that time. And then like you said, there wasn't a whole lot available as far as like gyms and places to meet up and stuff. So I had a few people I'd take over to the park, and with very minimal equipment, we'd get some workouts in and stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely time to get creative for sure.
I bet. I can imagine. I mean, I started this podcast during the pandemic because I was like, stuck in the house. I was like, there's nothing to do. We can't be on
Right.
set. That wasn't happening. So I was like, well, I'm going to start a podcast to talk to people. And I kept it going ever since. I think,
I
it's
love
been
that.
doing very well. So I totally understand that kind of hustle mode. Um, what kind of made you like, you said you did wrestling and so you never tried to do like WWE or like superstar because you know what you were like when I saw you in person I literally thought, and you're gonna probably laugh, but but I thought is it his name's Roman Reign or whatever, or
What's he from again?
I think he's like I think he's a WWE superstar
Okay.
wrestler. He has like the long
Okay, I think I know who
like
you're talking about.
literally
Yeah.
twins. I was like,
That is
whoa,
awesome.
what is he doing out here?
Right? Like get him in the ring. Maybe one day, right? But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, maybe one day, especially with the wrestling background, like you said. But yeah, I don't know. I was kind of when the wrestling was coming to an end and everything, I was always telling my dad and stuff. I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind like going in the UFC and giving that a shot. But man, I don't know. I was actually just posted something today on my story about, just head trauma and CTE. And I'm almost really happy that, I kind of pulled away from football and everything at the time that I did, because that stuff's no joke, man. And they got people in there who just did a whole entire NFL career, and now they got them boxing and knocking each other out. I'm like, it's not good. It's
it's
not good
pretty scary.
for sure.
My God, yeah, that can't, I don't see you doing UFC, but definitely WWE because I mean, there's some injuries, but it's not as insane as
Aggressive,
UFC. Like,
right?
yeah, and then you're actually getting like knocked out and taking hits to the face, and you're too beautiful to take hits to the face to do that.
Yeah, I can't mess up I already got a little scratch on there, right?
Yeah. Um, Roy Jones Jr., the boxer, before I moved to LA, he took a bunch of hits. He was talking about how, over the years, it kind of took a toll on him and he loves it, but it's just still very like, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, Muhammad Ali, all these people that actually suffer pretty horribly from the hits and,
Head trauma, yeah. I mean, it's scary. You think about your brain and how like delicate and fragile that thing is, and when you get hit like that, the thing's sloshing around up there. It's not good, So it's not definitely not supposed to be doing that.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So, like, do you have like any for like for me? I'm inspired by a lot of people, a lot of filmmakers. That's why I got into film. Alfred Hitchcock, to be exact, and Stanley Kubrick, and people like that. Who was someone that you were like? Did you actually like have people that you're like, oh, I want that kind of career, that fitness, that body, or that kind of longevity in what they're doing? Was there any comparisons that you used through the years?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, when I first was getting into bodybuilding and everything, it was just the old school guys, Arnold and Lou Ferrigno, all those guys. That little pumping iron movie. I would just be playing that thing on repeat all the time, man. I was like obsessed with that. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Venice Beach, all that good stuff. But I would say one of like the biggest inspirations of mine is a guy, Artemis Dolgan. I kind of like connected with him on Instagram quite a couple years back, and I don't know, I just really look up to him and kind of the way he lives. And he's got a clothing brand, and he does personal training, and just dude lives his life on his own terms, and I think that's really cool. And he really pushes for that, to just, life's what you make it. Like go out and live, don't waste a single day. And so I really kind of look up to him just because of everything he's built. And he didn't come from a whole lot, and like dude just hustles, you know what I mean? So, and the guy's physique is absolutely insane. He's looking wicked, and he's probably in his upper 30s now, and he's just diced down to the bone full year round. So it's pretty cool to see, watch his hustle, you know what I mean?
Definitely. Is there like I don't know how it is in the fitness world. Is there like a cutoff age of like, all right, um, like you mentioned Arnold, but he's an actor. So of course he has more of a longer longevity to continue on in that career in that physique. But like I don't know how it is in fitness. Is there like, okay, at 45, it's kind of over. No one's really, like, ooh, this I want to be this guy because there's so many
Yeah,
young people coming up.
definitely. But honestly, I don't think so. And what I really like look for when I'm looking at people to kind of look up to and stuff is the people that are doing it for like that long period of time. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys like come in here and they just want to get huge right away, and then they burn out, right? Like you look at them down the line and they do not look in shape, they don't look healthy. And I'm like, that it's not really what I do, right? Like I'm in it for the long run, like you said, the longevity factor. And there's actually another guy that I really look up to, Mike O'Hearn.
Mm.
He lives on LA as well. But yeah, I met him a couple of times at the Gold's Gym and everything. That dude's almost 50, and again, like just
Wow.
amazing physique, and he claims to be all natural. And at his age, I would have definitely expected him to be natural, doing it this long and not getting injuries, and you know what I mean. He definitely has like that natural look to him. But that's probably someone that, yeah, like I look up to. I want to be doing that type of stuff, later on into my life and still be looking awesome. You know what I mean?
I'm sure you will.
I
I'm sure you will.
appreciate that.
Um, is there any like with fitness, is there like, you have your business, you're training people. What are you looking to do in your business with like, I guess the next 2, 3 years? What does that look like for you?
Oh my gosh, scale. I want to, in my head, the big dream would be eventually kind of have my own studio where, I have my own gym and, have a couple trainers that work under me. It's just a whole team of people. I kind of want to just like build this little empire. Uh, so that would be the end goal. But within the next 2 to 3 years, definitely just scaling. Probably like hiring on a couple assistant coaches. Again, just building up a little team, some setters, salespeople, things like that. Um, so definitely nothing too crazy in the next 2 to 3 years. But yeah, again, the business is pretty fresh still, and right now it's just kind of getting the numbers up, and eventually to where I would have to hire an assistant coach and take some of that load off myself. So again, just getting people in the door and getting people on the roster, and again, just scaling.
Yeah, I always say, when you're having your own business and it's like you're your own entity, and because I am that, that's my production company,
Yeah,
everything is me. And people are like, oh, you have a team? I'm like, well, not, I mean, I'm an agent, but I do
that's
most
it,
of my
right?
own work anyway,
Hell yeah.
but I wonder for you, like, how much of the work do you do? Because I don't think people understand when it comes to when you're self-made or you're doing it yourself, like it's literally just you, but you
Yeah.
make it look like huge,
There could be some help, right?
Yeah. So how involved are you in your business?
Oh yeah, 100% hands on. I mean, it like you said, it's just me right now. So, all the DM outreach, all the conversations, all the phone calls, report calls, sales calls, everything. Yeah, everything's on me right now. Which, like you said, it can be stressful. It can be overwhelming at times. But I just try to remind myself like this is what I wanted. So like I can't complain about it. You know what I mean? It's like this is awesome. I'm my own boss. I have a really flexible schedule, and yeah, there's really nothing to complain about. Like I love what I do. I was just in California last weekend, and I was talking to one of my uncle's buddies, and I was telling him, I'm like, days that I have to go into the gym with clients and everything, I don't feel like I'm going to work. I'm at home doing my online stuff. I don't feel like I'm at work. So Yeah, I can really be like mad at the situation I'm in. Whenever it gets stressful or kind of overwhelming, or I'm like, just feeling overloaded with stuff, it's like I can't complain, man. This is what I wanted, and at the end of the day, it's badass. Like I'm glad I'm here. You know what I mean?
Definitely. No, I love that. I love that when, that's always been my thing. I think a lot of people would like to say, "Oh, Meosha, you could totally be, so much further." Which, obviously, I think I did pretty well for like, I guess, quote unquote independent, like on my own. But I always say, like, I just want to be in control of my narrative. Like that's
Mhm.
just what I am about. Whether it's whatever I'm doing, it doesn't have to be film. It could just, I just feel like that's the freedom that I desire. Like, I mean, I don't knock people having, you know, all these
Corporate
people in
job
control.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
no,
don't mind
100%.
that. But I just, there's something about that freedom of, like you said, being able to, yeah, they're stressful, but you're able to like, you love it. You're not gonna be like, just I gotta go to work again. Because
Right.
9 to 5s has never been my thing in my ever in my life, ever. And that's why I went to film school. I was like, yeah, I gotta figure out something because
Hell yeah.
school was not it for me. I didn't do really well in school.
So I feel you, girl. I swear I feel you. Yeah, like I said, it was the days that I was doing the nursing thing, I was like, man, I was getting less and less interested in like organic chem and biology and all this other shit, and like more interested in like how I can be lifting heavier and how I can like improve my physique. And I was really interested in like the anatomy and physiology classes, not so much like this other science stuff. And I'm
Anything
like,
else?
yeah, this is a sign. I'm like, I need to go this route instead. So I totally get that for sure.
That's awesome. So I wonder, how is business in there? Like, if you don't mind me saying where you're
Of
based
course.
at, is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah. Of
Okay.
course, yeah.
Because I know I'm very protective of where I am because I have some people that are a little creepy
Yeah,
out in the
no
woods.
doubt. They're out there, right?
Yeah. Um, um, so how is business out in Arizona with everything and fitness? Is there so are you looking to move anywhere else, or is that right now the hub for everything?
Yeah, to be honest, it's fantastic out here. And the nice thing about like being online and everything too is like I don't necessarily need everybody in Arizona.
Okay.
Like we can make progress where the hell they're at, you know what I mean? So that's really awesome. But with my in-person clients, yeah, there's an abundance, and I feel like there is anywhere, you know what I mean? Like people need help getting in shape, people need help with nutrition and with that lifestyle shift everywhere. So there's like a lot of talk about like, oh, there's too much competition for like online training and stuff like that. But if you look at the numbers as far as like how many people actually need help, like yeah, there's plenty of business, right?
Plenty of business. I love that. Um, I'm curious, when you find a new client, the regiment, like how do you figure is I mean, because everybody's different, every body type is different, male
Yes,
and female. How do you figure out, okay, this is what you should eat? Are you like, how do you assign them that their
their
thing?
protocol, yeah. So I mean, essentially, what I like to do with a lot of my clients is like we don't want to be restricting. We don't want to be cutting out entire food groups or like pulling all your carbs out of the situation because oftentimes it's just not going to work. It'll work short term, but after a couple of weeks of that, like you're human. You're going to be wanting carbs. You're going to be wanting whatever the hell you took out of that diet, and that's usually when people fall off when they start just caving in and going in eating all this food that they've been holding back on, right? So kind of what I've found that's been working a lot better is not restricting, not taking anything on the diet, and more so just focusing on that overall calorie intake throughout the day. Right? We really focus on energy balance. So energy out versus energy in. All the food that we intake, everything that we're eating, all that's energy, right? So if we're eating way more than we are moving during the day, that's when you start getting that holding on to the fat. That's when we start putting on fat. That's when we start putting on weight. And so what we want to do is be in that deficit. So what I focus on with my clients is like we don't have to cut out everything, but we want to make sure that we're eating portions that keep us within this deficit at the end of the day. And I mean that's just been working amazing with everybody. And a lot of the newbies, I'll just have them like really paying attention that they're getting their protein in. because a lot of people do not eat enough protein. And so that's kind of like the first thing that we'll start tackling, right? It's like getting that protein intake up. And that alone will make the world of difference for a lot of people. So, yeah, it's kind of the approach that we take right now with all the clients that I've got.
I love that. I love that you're not you're not cutting everything out because gosh, I love a good burger. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yes, yeah,
He's
everybody,
like,
right?
yes.
I'm like, I feel that. And a lot of I'm like,
Uh,
I eat a pizza like on a daily base, on a weekly basis. You know what I mean?
holy
I'm like,
moly, you look great.
yeah, I'm like, it's like you don't have to be eating clean 24/7. If you're
Mm,
eating clean majority of the time, then you can go eat a pizza. You can go have a burger. Like it's not going to do us the most damage.
mm,
If that other 80% of the time we're killing it, right? So I
yeah.
like to tell them like 80%, good healthy food choices, and then 20% of the time, we can have our fun food. We can go get the desserts or the burgers or the pizzas or the beer, whatever you want to spend it on. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, but it's more so just being aware and strategizing, right? Like if we're gonna go out to dinner that night, like then we're gonna might have to hold back on the calorie intake on that front end of the day.
mm.
Save us some room, give us some space at the end of the day. So we're not just like eating all day long and then going and splurging all night as well, right? It's like you gotta again, it's just an energy balance, right?
Mm, definitely. Would you say there's like a cutoff time to like eat? Like, don't eat past this time.
Um, it's funny you ask that because I've been having this conversation with my clients pretty often recently. There are, a lot of people that say, eating closer to your bedtime is not the best idea.
Mm,
Um, Personally, like a lot of times when I'm working out later in the evening, I gotta eat after my workout, right? So I'll
mm,
eat, I crash out. Like it doesn't affect me personally. So I guess that's more of a personal thing. Again, it's just like at the end of the day type of energy balance, right? So like if you go to bed and you need to like still eat some calories or not eat some calories, like that's that's the that's the choice you got to make based on kind of where you're at on your own situation. If you are working out in the evening, like myself, it's kind of important to get that nutrition in after your workout. So you kind of don't have a choice not to eat before you go to bed, right?
right.
Um, so again, it kind of just runs into kind of just your personal situation, but there are a lot of studies that say we shouldn't be eating as close to bed. So yeah, I would recommend it, but again, like if you have to get that last meal in before you crash out, then we really don't have an option there. If it's affecting your sleep, then we might have to lighten that meal up or something. But
Right.
yeah, but personally, like I don't see any effect in my sleep when I eat like right beforehand. You know what I mean?
Okay, nice. For those that are listening and that want to start and change their body, what advice would you give them? What would you say to that person?
Don't don't take these big challenges on right away. Start small because the small habit changes, the small things, the small lifestyle changes that we make, those are the things that go a very long way. I mean, just going to bed a little bit earlier, getting that extra bit of rest, recovering. I mean, we don't have to go to the gym and do, a 2 hour long workout. We can go to the gym and do 30-minute workouts, right? Like start small. They don't have to be this big, these big goals that we jump on right away. So that's definitely what I would recommend. And that's what I do with a lot of my clients is like, tackle the small stuff first, your mindset, the habits, those type of things. And then the rest will kind of just follow.
I love that. That's great advice. Where can people find you on social media and follow your business or, so they can reach out to you, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So you guys can follow me on Instagram. It's santifit.15. And that's really where I'm most active. I've got Facebook and everything like that as well. Santiago Salazar. You can search that as well. But yeah, I would definitely say that Instagram is like where I'm most active for sure. So you guys definitely shoot me a little follow on there, a message. Let me know you heard me from here, and I'll get you a follow back and all that good stuff. But
Ooh, a
um,
follow back.
hell yeah, show some love, right?
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great talking to
Oh my
you.
gosh, it was a pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and chat with you. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Until next time.
Yes. Until next time.
And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. Bye, guys.